that played those characters, but I think I came into it and like I wouldn't have a character to just make up on the spot. So I always really knew I was going to do Pete Bands. But I'm very happy for all the love. I'm really annoyed that when I was on set, I didn't give myself the credit. Um, but yeah, thank you for all the love. Oh, and the No Way lip sync. God. I love the way people spell my name. Like so many like E's where there shouldn't be. Dakota Shifter. We've had so many variations. I think it's fabulous. Is seeing yourself on TV an out of body experience? I would say yes. But also it's actually such an affirming experience to me. I was so scared I would look awful on television. And then to actually watch myself on television and finally feel like confident for the first time and finally have like a general understanding of how you look. Because it's filmed at all angles, and even how I look out of drag, I was so nervous. In the Snatch Game episode, I was like, oh my God, like, who did my hair? I know I did my hair because I woke up at 6 a.m. to do it. But yes, someone said, did you know any of the season 4 queens before Drag Race? So I knew pretty much all of them, but I knew of all of them, like bar a few, but I had spent time personally with Baby and Pepper. So Baby and Pepper were like certainly the people that I gravitated towards in the workroom the most, because I'd actually, ironically for someone that hadn't performed that many times, probably the performance gigs I remember the best and did the best at were ones with Baby and Pepper. And I was like, well, thanks, you're here. And that's when Pepper is like, in the first episode when I was up for elimination, I'm sitting next to Pepper and she's like, you're gonna fight. And I was like, I'm gonna fight. And then she goes, I've seen you perform. Like what, at that point it was like 4 months ago. This season has been so full of love and friendship. I think it's better than the past seasons with all the drama and cattiness. I think that's been a lot of complaints from a lot of seasons, but also I think lots of people, especially like I guess like the American season, like season 9, everyone was like, oh, there's not enough drama. And I think in this season it's certainly been like a very, like, everyone's just so focused on doing well, like themselves. Like I think it's been one of those things where there has just not really been time for drama, or at least I think everyone understands how the franchise works enough now that if they wanted drama it probably wouldn't play out well for them. If you were to give a piece of advice to a teenager struggling with their gender identity, what would it be? I'd say that the best thing you can do if you're trying to give advice to someone struggling with their gender identity is make sure that they are in a safe environment first. Because the worst thing you can do is encourage someone to take risks when it comes to something like coming out as transgender or anything under the gender non-conforming spectrum. So I'd say that the best thing you can do is just encourage them, if they are in a safe environment, to play with their presentation and see how it makes them feel. If it makes them feel affirmed or if they feel weirded out by it. I've had so many friends that have played with their presentation. There's no right answer and there's no label that people have to run and put on it. You know, I played with my presentation for ages before I came out of trans, and probably, you know, lived in many a different life and presentation before I, you know, felt comfortable in the one that I present now. So thank you so much. Honestly, like all the messages from trans people have just been so beautiful, and like it just couldn't have imagined the response. I think it's been one of those things where like it's so surreal being just like plucked, like having trans friends and like knowing their experiences and their lives, and suddenly being like a public figure in like, and there's not many public figures in the UK for trans people. So it's just been like amazing to hear that people feel represented. More questions. How do you feel being the icon of Drag Race again? Thank you. Any tips for people? My least favourite colour. Okay. That's a hard one. I'm not a big fan of orange, which is hilarious because I wore it on thingy. I don't like deep purple, but there's a time and place for everything, you know, I think. I'm trying to think what other colours. Yeah, I'm not, oh, I hate red. Why am I thinking? I hate red. I hate red. If there was a red, look, why did I have to think about that? It's so funny, I literally haven't changed my lipstick colour the entire season. And I was like, if I wore a red lip, I would age myself about 20 years. My fave look of the season is my sewing challenge look. Because I think going in as like a student with not a lot of drag experience, not drag experience, drag, well, I guess working drag experience. I've done drag for ages, but I hadn't actually been like a full-time working drag queen. I've been like a student studying. So it's been one of those things where I didn't have a lot of money to spend on looks. And I think when when we came out on the first day and everyone was taking out the stuff out of their bags, I just realized that I had spent so much less compared to everyone else, and that can be really daunting. So I think for the sewing challenge, it was so important for me that like everyone had a level playing field, and I could finally show that, you know, I understood fashion on a level when, you know, I'm not competing with people who had spent thousands on outfits. So that was just my favorite moment, I think, being able to prove myself. Did I ever feel overlooked? Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt overlooked because I think not only was I not very well known, I think, before I went in, but I also think that the first episode really lowered everyone's expectations. Thank you, will you use your money well, girl? Honestly, I was so self-critical, specifically my musicals runway. I literally felt like that was one of the worst runways to ever walk Drag Race UK. And I was like so dreading that runway because not because the dress isn't beautiful or the hair isn't beautiful or the flowers weren't beautiful, or I felt like my makeup was bad that day. More that just I felt like my style compared to everyone else's just looked so starkly different. And you know, we were not being judged on a scale of, you know, what are you doing in that's signature to you and how are you fulfilling that, like what could you do better. It was very much like we're being judged on who's the most extravagant, who has the craziest look, and like I'm not dressing up as like a cat or a Venus flytrap, like you know, as much as I love watching drag that does that, and I was so in awe of Danny and Cheddar and anyone that, and Pepper and just everyone that did like the craziest wackiest looks, I would never make sense to me to do that. And to walk on stage almost doing that would almost be, I mean, I dressed as a curtain one runway, but even that felt a little bit, you know, that was a pushing the boat up for me, and everyone said it was nothing. Did you have a boxing match against RuPaul? Wait and see for this episode. Are you scared of Michelle Visage? No. What clothes shops do you go for your out of drag style? That is so funny. So many people have given me compliments on my out of drag style, and I think that's the funniest thing, because I've always been dragged for my out of drag style, but mainly because I always spent my money on drag. So I never really invested in myself out of drag. And so all the clothes that I'm wearing, the cowboy boots that Pepper actually borrowed to play Little Nas, which was really funny. But I think it was hilarious that I was getting compliments on my out of drag style. So it's basically just charity shops in London, Shoreditch. I'm really a big Shoreditch fan, Camden, which is where I lived when I was at uni. What's my favourite Pokemon game? Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the best Pokemon games. Favourite Animal Crossing villager and song. Hazel, the squirrel with the unibrow. My favourite song is Along the Coast by Azalea Banks. A problematic fave. Do you guys share stuff that you have when you're in the competition? Funnily enough, Jumbers, who was just on the call, her fur coat that she wore for Great Hair Day is the one that she let me borrow to play Pete Burns. Because I had like an absolutely like awful, like basically like really thin fur coat to play Pete Burns. And I was just like looking at it and I was like, that's not very gorilla, you know, even though all of it's faux fur. Calm down, Peter. But like, I was just like, this isn't really giving the exaggeration that Pete Burns has. So she let me borrow it, which is lovely. I don't think I'd do All Stars if I didn't win. I love Lana Del Rey. More recently, actually, gotten into her because so many people have done fan cams with me with Lana Del Rey, and I was like, oh my god, like that makes so much sense. Like, why haven't I listened to her music more? and I've really gone through her discography a bit more, and I've really quite enjoyed it. So, how many suitcases are you allowed to bring? So I thought when they said 6 suitcases, they meant literal suitcases. So I brought 6 literal suitcases because my mum's an air hostess, so we have plenty of suitcases in the house. So it's one of those things where, like, obviously I am going to use these suitcases, and then I found out that everyone had brought stuff in the giant laundry bags. Everyone, pretty much, except me. And when I got out the cab, like the first thing that one of the Queen team members said was like, "Oh, you pack light," and I was like, I already knew something was wrong. I was like, how, like, what have I done wrong? Like, what has everyone brought? And Starlet literally brought like shipping container bags, like, to bring her stuff in, bless her. A book recommendation. I wish I had time to read. I'm sorry. Do you have any tips for starting drag but on a budget, especially wigs? Wigs are expensive, and I'd say that, you know, there might not be, in this economy, in this drag economy, there might not be the best money saving tip I can give, but I would say that if you invest in a good human unit, like one of these, they last you a long while. So as you might be spending a lot of money in the short term, but you can always style it up. So the wig that I wore for Ruayu is the same wig that I wore for this runway, and the same wig, where else did I wear it? For the sewing challenge as well. And then my Anne Boleyn wig was the one that Baby ended up wearing, and I styled that up for her to wear for the sewing challenge. And then Pepper wore it to play the twins in the thing. And then my entrance look wig, I restyled to do the twin with the pigtails. So that is basically, I've only worn about 4 wigs on the show. Oh, thank you for the love on Snatch Game. 60s favourite decade, obviously. Oh, insincere to the point of literally styled it while watching Bake Off. Like, the only thing that they had on that television was old series of Bake Off on Channel 4. Oh, thank you. I love the fan cams and edits. I was such a fan cam girl before, and I never really thought, you know, you never really think this process is like, oh, I'll get fan cams. And then to actually get them and go on TikTok every time, and then something like suddenly there's a fan cam, it's hilarious. I think it's the funniest thing. Did you think they didn't want to give you the win for Snatch Game because they were scared of your sleigh? No, honestly, I think the coat joke, the one that was like, my coat's been arrested, went over Rue's head massively. And I wish they showed it for the sheer sense that I knew the British public would enjoy that joke because it's British culture. But Rue didn't really enjoy it. So in that way, I guess I felt kind of flattered that they didn't show it. And because that was one of my, we get 4 questions, four. I've seen the film 4 times, that Oprah gift, but no, they give us 4 questions. So it's so funny how that, like, I've had so many people been like, you, like, no, you knew nothing about Pete Burns, or like, I knew Pete Burns, and they had a deadpan sense of humor, and I'm like, we do not have a lot of time to play the character, to, like, give them a literal biopic amount of time. Like, you basically just got to say 4 funny things, and then suddenly, like, it's over. So out of four answers, 3 of them got laughs, and 2 of them got big laughs, and the 2 big laughs were the ones they showed, which I'm very grateful for. And the first one, I also said shave the disco balls, like as Danny did, and so it was kind of like a conflicting moment. But then I basically set up a coat storyline being like, I love fur, it's my favourite fur coats made of gorilla. I studied geography. It's awful, don't do it. Do you think the girls should go for their own Snatch Game ideas or listen to Rue? I thought some of the ideas were good. I don't know. It's smart because RuPaul's the one judging it. So if you make RuPaul laugh, you make RuPaul laugh. I think there's one of those things where if you don't make RuPaul laugh, even if you did a character that the public might not find necessarily funny, like what comes to mind is Scarlett Harlot doing the one from Home Alone. I never watched Home Alone, but I found it quite funny. But I know a lot of people online were saying that like why did Ru make her do that one? And but she made RuPaul cackle, so of course she took the right advice. I think it's hard when you got advice like Danny's, where it was almost like very unclear. Like at least Jumba's got given a character, and then Jumba's was like, okay, I guess I'll do this, and quite similar to how she was going to play Enya anyway. I'd love to come back to Manchester. First Mary Poppins, now Home Alone. I hate when, and I'm sorry that if people are my age on this live, but like people suddenly act like if you were born in the early 90s, you're meant to have the same references if you were born in the 2000s. Like, make it make sense. Like, make it make sense. Like, I know maybe, and now I'm going to have a bunch of people born in the 2000s, like, say that they've loved Mary Poppins, that they love Home Alone. But, like, I just didn't watch it. I've never been to Cornwall. I've never been to New York. I'd love to go to New York. I don't smoke and I don't vape. And that's so funny. Someone at the Q&A the other day was like, what's your favourite vape flavour and what's your favourite energy drink? And I was like I was so taken back by that question because I felt like I was disappointing the audience right now. I felt like such a square for like, no. I did like, there's a pastel mint vape that I was like, can I hold it? Because it's pretty. They should totally ban this because I had to steal Starlet's vape once because she smoked it on the tube and I thought we were going to get kicked off. Oh, I'd love to come to Chicago. My friend is actually on a study abroad right now in Chicago. Exactly. You challenged me to a Pokemon battle. God, there's loads of questions coming through. Oh, thank you guys. So much love. I want to die. If you're a Pokemon gym leader, what type would you be? I feel like it's quite obvious to say fairy type. I think if I ever did a Pokemon inspired look that was inspired by a physical Pokemon, I'd really want to do a look inspired by Mega Gardevoir. Girl, none of us 2000s have watched Mary Poppins. I'm actually born 10 days before the 2000s. I was meant to be born in the 2000s, but I was premature by 2 months. So, yeah, God, she was ill. Favourite Switch game, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Please come to Manchester again. I need to see you. I will. I'm coming to Manchester. There's lots of plans for Manchester. I might be doing New Year's at Manchester. Who knows? No way you have a friend that's studying abroad in England. That's fabulous. I'm sorry that they chose to come here. Why would you even choose to come here? It's hell. I'd love to do Gardevoir drag. I will answer this question till the death of me. I'll tell you what, I said Hazel, favourite Animal Crossing villager, but my favourite Animal Crossing NPC is hands down Gracie Grace. Like, Gracie Grace is iconic. I remember getting Animal Crossing Go to the City for the first time and going to the city in that little bus with Cap in and then seeing Gracie Grace and entering the store for the first time. And I was like, this is where fashion, drag, and Animal Crossing collide. Like, I once started making a full Gracie Grace outfit and I got so exhausted and broke the iron and my mum wouldn't let me use it anymore. It was like years ago. I was like, oh, hello, Twink Trash. Well, I'm glad that you don't enjoy musicals as well. Who do I play in Mario Kart? Baby Rosalina. Although I'm kind of giving Princess Peach right now. I've always been more of a Rosalina girl, obviously because she wears mint and she has gorgeous blonde hair. Everyone keeps telling me I need to do Switch, or like, no, not Switch, Twitch, during that thing where they stream games. I'd love to do a Pokemon Nuzlocke or something. I think that'd be the funnest thing ever. Or like a fairy type Nuzlocke or a drag race themed Nuzlocke. I think that'd be so fun because I watch Nuzlockes all the time. Oh, I meant they're from England studying here in Chicago. Well, they made the right decision to leave this place. It's so weird that there's a delay because now everyone's telling me about baby Rosalina, and I said that 5 minutes ago, but I love it. I don't know how it works. What do I need to do? Someone tell me how to work a computer. What's my type? I don't have one. I don't date. Period. Didn't have a crush on anyone because they, yeah, I don't do it. Just don't do it. If you did a Nuzlocke with your team based on your Drag Race runways, I'd die. Oh my god, I wonder which ones would be which. I feel like there's no curtain-inspired Pokemon. That amazing artist, Cinderman, who's done the Pokemon animations every week. Oh my god, I would love to like Smoochum was for the curtains, I think. I am coming to Paris, actually. I am coming to France. I'm going to announce that soon. I'm very excited. That's going to be the first trip I've done abroad in 3 years. So I'm going to France, but I'll announce it soon. We're over the halfway point now on Drag Race UK, and now I want you to win. Well, I hope I do as well. Thank you very much. You need to do Durham Pride. We've got an amazing drag queen festival. My twin went to Durham University, and I've been to one of the fashion shows before. It's fabulous. I'm not doing anything for Halloween this year. I'll watch Dragula probably for Halloween. I just cannot deal with, at the moment, like it's been so busy and non-stop, like everyone's like, come here, and because I'm not living in London at the moment, it's just like so hard to like, I every time I look at my suitcase and pick it up, I want to cry. Like carrying my suitcase around is one of the worst things about being a drag queen. What would you do? What would you do if when you, okay, so he said yes, you go. Fabulous. I love how so many people were like, oh my god, she watches Dracula. Like, I love Dracula. Those people surpass us in every way. It's so profound. One of my favorite, like honestly, my favorite queen of all time, period, ever, Louisiana Purchase. Oh my god, the aesthetic, oh, Starlet Diva, join the live. Starlet. I'm Team Coco. Well, I should answer this question. Hoso and Coco. Hoso and Coco, all the way. And Victoria Elizabeth Black. Oh my god. But all of them are so talented. And Astrid as well. Fabulous. I always find that name so hard to pronounce because it's so close to my name. Where do you stream Dracula? I stream it on Shudder. I think there's a free trial. Do they supply challenge looks like the Rusical? No, they did. And the wigs that they tried to put me and Pepper in. Jail. Jail. Absolute jail. You know Starlet isn't ready to join us live, bless her. She's probably sitting at home in her pajamas and that gorgeous little headband she wears, and she's like with no lights on, and she's like, I will not join this live. Well, I would love Hosto to win just for the dolls. But Coco as well is just fabulous. I think, now it's a great thing being a twin who also loves Pokemon because they always pick the opposite game. And I think we've decided that they're going to pick Pokemon Starlet. I make myself laugh so much. Pokemon Starlet. I bet she'd be so glad that I got that confused instead of her actual name, Scarlet. I'm going to pick Pokemon Violet, and Harry is going to pick Pokemon Scarlet. Got it. No, bless her. People. I'm checking if Starlet's trying to join the live. Girl, leave Starlet alone. She had a rough. She's probably hungover, babe. She went to a Halloween party last night. Pokemon Starlet and Dakota coming in 2023. No, I don't agree with my placement this episode. Watching it, I don't agree with it. While I was there, I did, and that's annoying because I knew I just let people like gaslight me and shit. And like, I just did not give myself enough credit, and I hate myself for it because I think I was so knocked down in episode 1. I truly never ever felt, other than the sewing challenge, that I was like near the top of the competition, like ever. And to have so much positive response is just so overwhelming, and it's so over the moon. My favorite starter, so my favorite game is Heart Gold Soul Silver. I was actually going to restart a game today actually because I've literally hadn't had a day off in ages. Cyndaquil is probably my favorite, but they kind of butchered Typhlosion's 3D sprite, and I'd probably say then Piplup and Turtwig are like close seconds probably. I haven't filmed the cameos yet, so if you want to go get one, book one. Personalised message. Go book one now because I'll be filming it in this look, in the cape and everything, so I'm gonna get set up. So there hasn't even been 8 episodes. How would I have 8 wins? And in no way, no one could edit that musicals episode to make me look like I could win. Go on Cameo and type in Dakota.schiffer and you can buy one. I think I've got the link on my story as well. Yes, of course I cook my own dinners. I'm 22 years old. Favourite evolution, Sylveon trans rights, but I also love Glaceon as well. Who's my favourite from Drag Race UK Season 2? Tace, probably. I love Tace. I worked with Tace quite a few times, or met with Tace quite a few times before her season. She's wonderful. I think, honestly, it changes how much cameos are, depending on like how you get 20. Like, I've got some that are coming through at £20 and some that are coming through at 45, and I don't get why or what makes the difference. But I don't know if there's an option. But yeah. We filmed in spring. I do not have time for a YouTube channel. I'm not like Miss Starlet. I could not do that. And I don't have the... It broke me to edit the bloody audition tape, let alone to make YouTube content. I will have some new designs coming out soon. Where did I find my style? I've always just been obsessed with the 60s. It's just, I just honestly can't make... like, I've never ever not been obsessed with the 60s. Like, ever since I like watched documentaries and stuff about it. Like, even when I was doing like probably textiles in year 7, like I just remember someone putting a picture of Twiggy on their mood board, and I was like, she gets it. That's a girl who gets it. Oh, thank you so much. My audition tape, I mean, everyone thinks their audition tape is a salve. I think I came into this tape for this season because I'd applied 2 other times. So the 3rd time's a charm. And the 3rd time, I just was really natural. I wasn't very like I think my season 3 audition tape is probably one of the worst pieces of media ever seen, and one day I'll react to it or something. But I was just I was in such a bad place, and I guess I was trying to be someone they would have liked, and it was so choppy. The lip sync was dreadful. I like did a crunchy dip outside of a church, where I lived nearby at the time. It was absolute jail. I'm designing DragCon looks right now. I'm very excited for DragCon. It should be fabulous. The way you could have quit drag if you weren't on the season, the thought kills me. Yeah, I guess I had said that before, haven't I? I think it's one of those things though where I hate watching my friends my friends who are applying, feel super dependent on the opportunity, and I think the opportunity changes every year. So it's one of those things where have you like like what kind of season are you on. You benefit from when it's placed and when it's timed. There's so much that's out of your control. Like if you know you don't get a good amount of time or don't make a connection with the viewers, it's so scary. And I'm just very grateful that it was my time and I'm like it was my chance and I've you know managed to survive this far. Oh, thank you. Favorite TV show and movie? I really like Euphoria season 1. I really liked what's the word? There's a better answer than that, than Euphoria, for Christ's sake. I always liked Total Drama Island, which is where I get my name from. I don't have feet, sorry. But thank you for asking that question. TV show recommended. I like You. That's such a basic thing to say. I just love Victoria Pedretti. I think she's beautiful. I've only watched Coven, but I think from what I understand, makes sense that is one of the best seasons. Favorite makeup brand? I really love P. Louise. Send me stuff, P. Louise. I'm currently sitting in front of the palette that I use to sing It's Wonderful. Like it's like a chest palette, and it's like it's the first thing I ever bought on TikTok Shop. I'll not be selling this palette. Two sides. I feel like you know what this look reminds me of without the cape? That skit with Kristen Wiig, and she's like, I'm wearing Christopher Kane, and this is a Christopher Kane knockoff. Hands up, say hey baby, been that chick but I'm such a lady, got good curves like a new Mercedes, how dare these chicks to try and take me. The way she ate everyone up. I did watch Haunting of Bly Manor. I used that her running out the house having in that pink jumper as a reaction pic for ages. Favorite Animal Crossing game? New Leaf, hands down. Well, maybe Wild World for sentimental reasons, but New Leaf had so much content in it. Was such like a. I think as much as I like New Horizons because it was during lockdown and I really needed it. I'm a bit old for Heartstopper Love. I love I love that someone else can watch it. It's for a different generation than me. This outfit kind of gives white chicks. I'm being dragged on this live. I love it. I love it. Thank you though. That's hilarious. Thank you guys. So many compliments. Do you read? I can't read. What did I think of Anya de Armas as Marilyn? I was really hyped to all the press photos. You know, obviously I think as someone that loves drag and I guess celebrity transformation is kind of like drag or adjacent to drag, and her aesthetic as well. Like the aesthetic and the marketing of the film certainly was something that interested me, and then I went to try and watch it and couldn't get through it. I think it's a really sensationalist portrayal, unfortunately, of the life of Marilyn Monroe, and I don't think it even, you know, even if it was based on a novel and it is fictional, that's what a lot of the people who really like the film say. I'm not the kind of person that's in for that kind of movie. Are you dyslexic? I don't think I am. I've had a lot of people say that I might be because I can't get my lefts and rights right or something like that. Oh, that's another thing that someone I haven't got screened for, but I've got accused of being that a lot. But do you like using social media or do you feel like you have to use it? I like being on social media. I think it's wonderful. I also think it's horrible. But I'm very fortunate, I think, so far that it's just been a lot of love. And I'm just very grateful that it's been such a positive response, especially because it's been, like, I think I was so nervous, like, we do live on Turf Island. I was just very nervous that it would be something that would go down not very well. Did you mind Snatch Game being on the runway and not being on a normal setting? It was a bit weird, but I think I got the hang of it in the end. And I also think because you're familiar to we've been on main stage before and we've done so much on the main stage before, it certainly actually felt a bit more comfortable. Oh, thank you. Hello for the Philippines. Hello to Chile. I'm in Newcastle. I think on the 10th. On the 10th. How do you see the evolution of Dakota going forward? Would you like to distance your own identity from Dakota? I think that's a really interesting question. I think for me, drag has never been a persona or something that I put on as a alter ego of sorts. To me, it's always just kind of been like a stage name. And I think I've never been able to spend so much on my out of drag style. And I think, you know, hopefully whatever career I end up doing, I think my personal style in drag might become closer, and whatever that means for drag or what that means for my personal self, I don't really like to think about it that much. Honestly, as RuPaul does say, we're born naked and the rest is drag. So whatever we're putting on, whatever we're putting on day to day, we're putting on a presentation that we want the world to see. So if mine ends up looking a bit more glamorous in the future because I can afford nice costumes with nice satin and nice pastels, then I will. No, I'm self-taught makeup. I just practice trial and error, girl. There are some pictures you don't want to see. I was just in Glasgow, but I would love to come back. I take about an hour and 45 minutes to put my face, depending on whether I have brows or not. Currently, my brows are bleached, which is, I think, probably one of my favourite ways to do my brows. And I think they're very temperamental to keep bleaching your brows. I've bleached them about 3 times this week because you get like little eyebrow roots. It's so annoying. You do not want to see those pictures. But if on the show, regrettably, I shaved off my eyebrows and just continued to draw them on the same place in the confessionals and in drag as well. It pissed me off that I just remember shaving them off about a month before we left, realising that if I regretted it, that I wouldn't like have time to grow them back properly. So, absolute jail. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, you did not no one embarrassed themselves at the meet and greets. I don't know which one I met, who you are, who I met at the meet and greet. Hello, Billy, I can say your name. But no one embarrassed themselves at the meet and greet. It was so lovely. What has been your favourite look to walk the runway, or has it not happened yet? I would say pink was one of my favourites. The big cape, and the fact that they asked me to open it as well. And I think my favourite to walk the runway is the sewing challenge look for sentimental reasons, obviously. And I think it's so funny that people in production are under orders to like stay but not biased, so they can't really give you an inkling of how you did, other than just like, you're doing really well, you're doing amazing, sweetie. But when you do well, there's kind of a way that the people around you have reacted that was almost to give you less compliments and speak less to you and almost ignore you, because they knew you were going to be fine. And when the zip went up for that sewing challenge dress, I flipped the wig back, and then one of like the straight cameramen who had never even spoken to me just went, whoa. And I was like, I may or may have not ate that, but thank you. Least favourite challenge is very obvious. It was the musicals. I don't know what I'm performing in Newcastle yet. I don't think about it in that detail. I just sort of decide on the day. Favourite old movie, Valley of the Dolls. Down. Can anyone give me intel on Dakota's favourite UCL library? Oh my god, I'm such a bad example of someone who went to UCL. But my favourite library is obviously the big central one, the one, I don't know what it's called, the main one, the one with the big spiral staircase. Well, thank you for saying I did well in the musical. It's very kind. Do Grooves in the Heart at Newcastle. I might just do that. If you could live in a country, why would you live in? I don't know what country I'd live in, to be fair. Do I have a Halloween costume planned? No. I studied geography. Working with baby is the best. We've had quite a few people say they want a little group tour moment, or a little group moment, show moment, whatever. And yeah, well, that might be in the works. Favorite Pokemon is Mega Gardevoir. Any plans on a US geography is not a sleigh. My other choice to Snatch game was Princess Diana or Megan McKenna. I have no plans of pursuing geography again. I tell you what, I'm more of like a sociology kind of person that basically just did geography in name, and I really found that doing geography like helped me push, because I basically skewed all my research to trans issues, which is so funny because when people think geography they think like soil and earthquakes and volcanoes and tectonics, and it's the worst. And I never did any of that. Or my dissertation, because I left uni 6 months before I was about to finish, so I had a pretty decent time there, even if most of it was in I was in Astor College at UCL. Well, I studied geography from press to my parents. And that's so funny because I was the first person who had ever, along with me and my twin, were the first people in my family to ever go to university. I think there was a lot of pressure for us to do something academic, but knowing what I would have gone on to do now, I wish I kept to do fashion at Central St. Martin's or London College of Fashion, because that would have helped me so much more. I mean, I still won the sewing challenge, don't get me wrong, but I just sat there thinking, if I had done fashion design, I would have known so many more people that could have made me runways for the cheap. I just looked at the time and the Animal Crossing soundtrack is going to run out soon. But I thank you so much for all your lovely questions and coming on the live with me. It's very kind. And I am going to film these cameos now, and then probably go to sleep and make myself a cup of tea. And I need to go let my dog out as well, because I think she's tapping on the door. So